Welcome to one of the most beautiful countries in the world. If you're planning a trip to Iceland and are wondering which tours are actually worth your time and money, well, you're in the right place. From glacier hikes and jaw-dropping ice caves to relaxing in lagoons and epic adventures, we're breaking down the best tours Iceland has to offer. Whether you're a foodie exploring Reykjavik or a thrill seeker diving between tectonic plates, these experiences will blow your mind. Stick around to find out which ones made the cut. You do not want to miss this. If you guys are new here, we're Giselle and Steven, also known as the Lover's Passport, and we're taking you to a new bucket list destination every single week. We've been over 42 countries together, and we've actually been to Iceland 5 times. So we think that we know the best spots in all of Iceland. So we're gonna be walking you through our favorite tours and the ones that you cannot miss, whether you're only in Iceland for one day or if you're doing a full ring road trip. These are the spots that you need to check out. So starting off with number 1 is the Reykjavik Food Walk. We love doing the Reykjavik Food Walk in the beginning of your trip because it's a great way to get acquainted with the town. They talk to you about the history of Iceland. They take you to 5 different local cuisines where you get to try 6 to 8 dishes. This is a nice little afternoon activity, and we would do this on the first day of your trip. If you are planning to hang out in Reykjavik before driving the full ring road or doing one of these other tours, we think the Reykjavik Food Walk is incredible. We went ahead and linked our favorite one right here. All you have to do is scan the QR code and it'll take you to the exact same one. If you guys are really up for an adventure on it, I would highly recommend trying the fermented shark. It's not great, but if you're in Iceland, it's something you gotta do. If you wanna check out our full experience in the Reykjavik Food Walk, you can actually check out the YouTube video down below. We did this tour a few years back and it was still one of our favorites to this day.
Next up, did you even go to Iceland? If you didn't go to one of its famous geothermal lagoons, you have to soak in a lagoon in Iceland, and there's lots of different tours that offer you transportation to and from, as well as an entry ticket admission available for you to go check out. There are tons of different lagoons to choose from around Iceland. Now, depending on where you are going and how much time you have, that's gonna narrow it down a little bit. We actually checked out a ton of Iceland's most famous paid lagoons. So if you guys wanna check it out, we did a full YouTube video ranking all of the different ones that we visited, and we've been to quite a few. We're not gonna spoil which one was our favorite, so we'll link that video up here for you, as well as down below in the description. Now, typically, based on how much time and where you're going in Iceland, you're gonna have a limited amount of lagoons available, but if you're staying in Reykjavik, the 2 most popular ones that are going to be available to you are the Sky Lagoon and the Blue Lagoon. Both are fantastic options, and what's nice is even if you're just doing a 24-hour stop over with Iceland Air or something like that where you only have a short amount of time, they even have tours available where they're gonna pick you up from the Keflavik airport and take you directly to the lagoon where they have luggage storage available, and then you can do the lagoon and even head back to the airport if you wanted. So there are many different tours available for both of those lagoons.
Next up, if you're up for an adventure, I would recommend doing the Skogafoss Glacier hike. This is a great way to really see what brings so much beauty to Iceland. It has the largest glacier in all of Europe. So this is a 4 to 5 hour tour. You actually meet right next to Skogafoss. Gee, what are we doing?
Let's go hiking on the glacier.
On the bus now.
It's gonna be a 40-minute drive over to the glacier, and then we're gonna get our crampons and our helmets.
That's cool. And they will take you about an hour bus ride to get onto the glacier itself. You spend about 2.5 to 3 hours hiking around the glacier, checking out an ice cave if it's capable of having, and then you take about an hour bus ride back on one of their super jeeps. Now, when you guys are going on this, you wanna make sure that you have a rain jacket and rain pants and lots of layers. It can get really cold up there. If it's a beautiful sunny day, you don't have to worry about that. But remember, the weather in Iceland changes every 5 minutes. So this is definitely one thing that I recommend doing. If you guys wanna book this tour and go hiking on a glacier, we went ahead and put the QR code right over here so that you can book this experience.
Next up, if you're visiting Iceland during the winter time, you'll have a really cool opportunity to go see ice caves. And ice cave tours are typically running from October to April because that is the prime time for them to be super safe for you to enter. Iceland has some of the most beautiful ice caves in the whole world. It's really otherworldly, and if you get the opportunity to go out, we highly would recommend, especially because they are changing every single year. Even if you've done an ice cave in Iceland before, if you go back, that ice cave might not exist anymore, or it might have changed completely. So that's something cool, that you can go back to Iceland every single year and get a completely different ice cave experience. So we'll link our top recommendations down below for you. You don't want to go to an ice cave on your own. That's super dangerous, so they give you all the gear that you need, including helmets, ice axes, and all that good stuff to make sure you're safe.
We're here at the famous Glacier Lagoon, and we're about to do something we haven't done before, which is head out on a boat ride on the lagoon to go explore the glacier. So we're really excited, and we'll take you along.
The next experience is the Glacier Lagoon and boat ride. This one is so much fun because you get to get up and personal to these icebergs that are floating down. Because of the climate change, the glaciers in Iceland are shrinking very rapidly. So when they break off over on the massive glacier, they slide down the Glacier Lagoon, and every single day, no matter when you go, they look a little bit different. Some of them are massive and are as big as 3 or 4 houses. Then other ones start to get really small, and that's when they exit the Glacier Lagoon and end up on Diamond Beach. So the great thing about this tour itself is you hop on one of these duck boats, they take you around, get nice and personal to these icebergs, and then afterwards they actually take you over to Diamond Beach. One little tip that I will give you is when you go to Diamond Beach, make sure you go to both sides of it, because when we went, one side did not have a ton of ice pieces on it, but when we went to the other side, there were some massive ones that we could go and explore. If you're really lucky, you can also see some seals here. They come into the lagoon to get away from the sharks and other animals that might try and prey on them.
Oh, he's looking at us.
If you want to book this experience, we went ahead and put the QR code right here. This is one you will not want to miss, especially if you're in the south of Iceland.
Next up, we have one of the craziest locations in all of Iceland that's actually only accessible during the summertime. And we're gonna try our Icelandic here, Landmannalaugar.
Landmannalaugar.
We just got here to Landmannalaugar. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but we are in the Highlands now. We're actually doing a tour that takes you up here. It leaves from Reykjavik. It's about a 4-hour drive, so a lot of time spent in the car, but we're really excited to hike up. It looks like it's about a 3-hour hike, and then hopefully we'll be able to take in these stunning colors. The mountains up here are just mind-blowing. So really excited to take you along. Here we go.
And so basically you get fitted up in this massive rig that's gonna take you across the Icelandic Highlands, which is why you can only do it in the summertime, because that's the only time those F-roads are accessible out there. Steven and I had never been out to the Highlands before, so we opted to do this one, and it was such a great time. This was one of those tours that like really went above and beyond our expectations, because we had plenty of time to go hiking out here. We had plenty of time to take photos. And then once we finished, we were able to go soak in some natural hot springs out there.
We just finished up our time here at the little hot spring. It was honestly so refreshing. We are cruising back now. As you can see, I'm barefoot, but I will say if you guys do come, make sure you bring a towel. They don't have towels here. I would also highly advise bringing like additional flip-flops. All I have are my little hiking shoes. So unfortunately, that's the reason I'm not putting on, because it's raining, my feet are wet. Just gonna get back to the lodge, but really fun experience. It's nice to be able to go for a hike, come back down, relax in the hot spring for a bit. We're gonna cruise back, dry off, and then head back to Reykjavik. Full day in the Highlands, pretty epic out here.
So there's 2 different ways to do this tour, depending on how much time you have and if you have your own vehicle. Steven and I didn't have our own vehicle at this point that could make it out there, so we booked the longer, it's like a 14-hour tour between driving out to the Highlands from Reykjavik, spending a ton of time out there during the day, so we had enough time to hike and spend some time relaxing in the hot springs, and then the couple-hour drive back to Reykjavik. If you don't need that and you already have your own vehicle, but you don't wanna do the hike or the hot springs by yourself, you can actually meet the guide over in that region, and they'll pick you up as well. And that's a shorter tour that's like about 5 hours, because you don't have to worry about the extra driving time.
The next tour is an Iceland classic. This is called the Golden Circle, and if you only have 24 hours in Iceland, this would be the one that I recommend doing. It is a long tour, it's a full day, 9 hours. It leaves from Reykjavik and it takes you to some of the coolest spots in Iceland, so you really get a feel on what it's like. You start off with visiting Thingvellir National Park. It is this massive canyon, and when you're in Iceland, you need to visit at least one of their famous canyons.
We are here in Thingvellir National Park. It is absolutely stunning. This is one of the first stops along the Golden Circle. We are on this bus back here. We're gonna be doing a ton of stops through it. The little hack for this is you're going to park at the top parking lot and then walk through the tectonic plates. You get to see where the North American plate and the Euro-Asia plate come together.
Which, spoiler alert, is our next tour.
Pretty neat, a lot of history here, especially when it comes to Icelandic history. And then you walk down to this beautiful waterfall. It's called Skogafoss. Totally butchering that, but we had a stunning bluebird day today. We got to see the rainbow come through. Really, really pretty start to the day, and we're gonna keep cruising.
The second spot they're gonna take you to is called Geysir.
We are now here at Geysir. Big geyser happens right over here. About every 5 to 8 minutes is what we heard. It is still such a beautiful day. This is probably the second stop most people go to on the Golden Circle, and it is, like I said earlier, very, very busy. So we hung out here for about 20 minutes. Saw 3 or 4 geysers. Each one is a little bit different. There is some seating here. It's a really easy trail, and this is where we would recommend stopping for lunch. We're gonna go grab some food right now. They have burgers, fish and chips, all kinds of fun stuff. There's a nice little gift shop here. If it is dumping rain on you, you can always go pick up stuff there. But yeah.
We captured some incredible photos here, and if you want to capture the best photos on your trip to Iceland, we actually have a full photography ebook. We'll go ahead and link it down below. We dive into how to stop shooting on auto, how to turn your photos into beautiful landscapes. Check out a few of our photos that we've captured from Iceland. The last spot on your Golden Circle tour is going to be Gullfoss, which is one of my personal favorite waterfalls in all of Iceland. It is absolutely gigantic.
We are now here at Gullfoss, and look at this waterfall. This place is absolutely insane. Typically, it is very windy, very cloudy. We are so blessed today. I mean, look at this view. We have a rainbow, it's completely sunny. It's not that busy here today, and this is going to be the third spot along the Golden Circle. This one is only about 10 minutes past Geysir, so after we ate lunch, we cruised over here, checked out this insane rainbow. We're gonna see how close up to the waterfall you can get here before we get ready to head over to the secret lagoon. But absolutely mind-blowing today.
If you guys want to book the Golden Circle tour, we went ahead and put the QR code right here. You can scan it, and like I said, this is a 9-hour tour. It's a full day, but if you're only spending 24 to 48 hours in Iceland, this would be one that you need to do.
Next, we have one of the most unique tours we have ever done, and as Steven kind of hinted earlier, it's diving in between the tectonic plates at Silfra in Thingvellir National Park. This water is freezing cold, but it is so crystal clear. It is such an awesome experience. We booked it through Get Your Guide. We'll link that QR code right here for you if you want to book it too. But this was one that I wished we had done in our first trip to Iceland, and I saw people doing it when we were at the national park, and I said, we are coming back and we are doing this. You can either snorkel it or you can do it as a scuba dive. Even though we're advanced PADI certified, we decided to do it as a snorkel, and I personally thought that was a great way to do it. You do need some extra certifications with a dry suit if you are going to scuba dive Silfra, and the water is very cold. You wear your full thermal layers underneath your dry suit that they'll give you, as well as gloves and everything, because the water is very cold.
All right, G, how are you feeling?
They just tied up our necks to make sure that no water gets in, so you get a little constricted. They do that on your wrists too, but so you're not gonna be freezing cold and water's not gonna be getting you in your dry suit. So just so you know, it's a little uncomfy.
All right, here we go. Oompa loompa stuff.
Whatever skin is exposed does get really cold. When you're snorkeling too, like your face gets a little chilly. So keep that in mind. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And then at the end of the tour, they actually, if you want to do like a polar dip, you can take off your headpiece and like do a dunk. That was cold.
Wow. Oh, wow, that hood. Thank God for that hood. Woo!
And you break it up into smaller groups. So we went with a group of about 5-6 people along with our guide, and we spent an hour snorkeling from one point of the lagoon out to the other side. They also will give you some photos and videos, but if you want your best quality stuff, we'd recommend bringing your own GoPro.
The last tour that we are going to be talking about here is the full day South of Iceland tour. The South of Iceland is probably the most famous tour, and that is because there are so many beautiful landmarks landmarks. We've done the entire ring road plus the western fjords, and we personally think there is no other section of Iceland that has as many beautiful things as the south of Iceland. So if you're looking to see some of the waterfalls, check out some of the black sand beaches, other places from movies like Game of Thrones, this is your spot. The first stop that you go to is called Skogafoss, which is one of the biggest waterfalls in all of Europe. It is massive. You get to walk directly up to it and you can really feel the spray from the waterfall. And if you're up for it, you can actually walk up the 200 or 300 stairs and get an overlooking view of Skogafoss. The second stop you go to is actually a glacier. I'm not even gonna try and say this, so I'm gonna put the name right here. They do take you to a glacier on this tour because going all the way to the biggest glacier in Europe is just a little too far for the full day south of Iceland trip. So you do get a little taste from it, and this is one glacier that is pretty close to Reykjavik that I would recommend. The next stop is going to be Vik. This is a super cute little quaint town that's kind of the halfway point as you're making your way out to Reynisfjara beach. If you guys are in Vik and you have a little extra time, I would definitely recommend checking out School Beans. It's a cute little coffee shop inside of a school bus. The next stop that you go on this south of Iceland trip is all the way to Reynisfjara beach, which is one of my favorite spots in all of Iceland.
We're now here at Reynisfjara beach. As you can see, it is absolute madness, people everywhere. This is the black sand beach and where they film pieces of Game of Thrones. So it's a really beautiful area to come hang out. This is one of our favorite spots when we came during our first trip to Iceland, and it's going to be right after Skogafoss. It's a great spot, really fun to be able to check this out. It's still absolutely stunning out. We have blue skies. Probably recommend getting here and planning for about 30 minutes here. And remember, the earlier you come, the better, because like I said, look at how busy it is.
This is the furthest that you go on your south of Iceland trip before starting to make your way back to Reykjavik, but you have to stop at the famous Seljalandsfoss.
Now we are at Seljalandsfoss. It is day 2 of our south coast of Iceland trip. This is just the outside of where all of the crazy waterfalls start. The nice thing about this part is you can actually walk all the way around the waterfall. So you can see people, it is very crowded now, but you can walk all the way around the back. And the nice thing about it is if you get here early, you have it mostly to yourself. We got here at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and there was almost no one here. There's one other tour bus. Now it's 11 o'clock and it is extremely packed. There's about 200 people walking Seljalandsfoss. So if you guys do want to have it by yourself, highly recommend getting here a little bit early. And if you have a little bit of extra time, I would highly recommend walking about 10 minutes to the left of Seljalandsfoss. And there's a secret waterfall inside of a cave. You do have to have some waterproof shoes because you are going to walk through the river. You can walk in, it pounds you, absolutely destroys you with water, but it is magnificent to witness.
If you want to book this tour, check out some of those insane waterfalls. We put the QR code right here so that you can go and take that experience. That is it for our best experiences to do in Iceland. We have booked a ton of tours and checked out a whole bunch of different things in this country. These are our favorites and the ones that we think are personally worth it. Let us know down below which one you would pick on your trip to Iceland. And don't forget, if you want to see more content just like this is the beginning of our Iceland series. You can check out our favorite lagoons down below out of all the ones that we visited in Iceland and get ready for our full south of Iceland itinerary coming up soon. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, and as always, we'll see you out there on the next adventure.